Once you let those eyes in. Foot episode, sitting. Hours reboot 5. Views 53,065. The wall was a mosaic at the moment, each shard of glass its own unique block. Arranged as it was, Graham knew it could shift to an image of whichever or whomever, and yet he sat numbly, feeling a presence beyond the glass walls. He felt the scrutiny of the people, their million hungry eyes crawling all over his body. Looking for signs of distress, discomfort, or annoyance, the people watched so that they could sit down for a session of morbid comedic indulgence, with him as the first-class entertainer. Graham was thinking about the ways in which people let themselves become laughingstocks, or rejoice in the presence of one. I guess people like the idea of showcasing their stupidity. Just look at us now. In order to follow the trend of celebrating deliberate idiocy, the primitive reality TV show format was extended to the masses through social media. Now, no matter what the situation was, it was forever documented and shared. It was the new big thing, Contifoot, the continuous footage system forever documenting each of one's actions. Contifoot was the new way of living life through someone else's experiences. The system had been dropped on each rock lawn in 2054, a present for the household, coming with a bill to be checked out to the Contifoot Governmental Corporation. It was a fairly reasonable fee for a fairly unreasonable life changer. Cameras the size of cards were hung up in the perimeters of every room, moving along tracks trailing the walls. They followed and filmed interactions according to facial recognition and heat detection. Once he saw the cameras, Graham, at the age of 4, had an early premonition. Stumbling over the box, he charged at its hostile-looking contents with small hands and fists, attacking it with a sudden fervor. His family, especially his 8-year-old sister, laughed at the sabotage attempt and smiled with open eyes. They were hardly a perfect family, but in their gazes shone the innocence of the little boy. It was about time to crush it. The moment the cameras were set, the facades were too. Foot episode. Happy family. Hours 17,579 to 17,581. Views 4,324. The family took a trip to Disney World, the epitome of the nostalgic American childhood. Overall, it was a smiling experience, a place where kids felt joyful and tag-along parents had to work extra hard at feigning it. Capturing it all was a custom high-performance Contifoot system operating on the parks and rides and even in the parking lots. All the family footage on the park premises went directly to personal Contifoot channel feeds. When the stock market took a plunge and Mother, a private investment broker, had been too busy being assaulted by a robotic booth to be updated immediately, her poised parent performance was wanting. Sweat stuck to her forehead, and her breaths heaved in and out with aggravated pants. Graham noticed his mother lagging, so he grabbed her hand and tugged. "Mommy, let's keep going." With the sweat leaving trails down her distraught face, Mother's faked smile sank into a grimace. "Mommy!" Mother's face capsized into a glare, and her hand that was enveloping Graham's dug into his pudgy grasp. "Ow, Mommy!" His mother spat straight into his ear with a spite-tinged whisper. "Now listen here. Because of you, Mommy's clients had to watch her playing with robots while they lost precious money. Don't get on my nerves and don't talk about this anymore. At least we'll get views. Try to look happy and so will I. At least then this entire thing will count for something." Graham's mother pulled away and plastered on a fresh grin. "Okay now, sweetie, let's see that beautiful smile and let's have some fun." Feature comment: "Your family is so perfect." Years went by, and lo and behold, the family grew. Some grew out their bald spots with science, some grew into adolescence with baby beards, some grew out their tastes as actors, and some grew in taste. Foot episode. Sis is sizzlin'. Hours 65,743 to 65,815. Views 12,048. Graham's now 16-year-old sister sauntered down the steps, clad in all black, shorts and midriff-bearing shirt rolled into one, topped with a smothering of kohl eyeliner. Graham watched from the staircase, annoyance plastered right across his face. Graham's father spat a little of his coffee back into his mug. The father battled with himself for a second or two, wondering whether he should initiate a reprimanding moment, perhaps game some comments for his enlightened parenting. He mentally resolved to hand over the responsibility to his wife, figuring she could benefit from the moral light in which that would put her. However, after waiting several days with no change, the father interrogated his wife at the kitchen table. Are we allowing her to dress like this? Meaning, did they really want to seem like bad parents on tape? A smirk from Graham's mother slapped him across the face, and her tone lowered to that which the cameras could not overhear. I've realized something. Big shots buying stocks don't care what sort of mother I am. They care whether I'm working to bring them profit. And besides, it's a bonus if the daughter is pretty. Did you see how much our views spiked this past week? And I checked. Most of our content watchers were actually potential male clients who we could open several investment portfolios with. She doesn't have to know that, but we do to see that we're expanding our customer base. The parents glanced over in disdained resignation at their daughter, who was twirling her violet hair in circles and watching other foots projected on the walls, completely unaware of anything more than the pretext of her oglers. Where's Graham again? The father asked nonchalantly. Somewhere. Oh, take a look at our neighbor's channel over on the wall. They're so crazy in their foots. I love the business they get because of it. With that, thoughts of Graham flew out with the last tendrils of the mother's morals. Graham glared at his parents and sisters in disgust from the staircase. He was still waiting for someone sweet and innocent to come down to breakfast. Foot episode. Boy gets beaten. Hour 66,629. Views 14,006. The acclimation to reality institution was designed to get students around Graham's age accustomed to real-life situations and for them to make better foots because of it. The school brought disillusion about the real world, just not as it promised. Hey man, I was watching your foot all last night. You'll never guess what I saw your sister doing. Shut up. Graham spat in the direction of his assaulter, the boy whose muscles had won the growing race against his brain. The boy's smirk said it all as he hung over the side of his desk, his eyes bloodshot from the amount of different people's footage he perused through every day. Just saying, 9 o'clock is the best time to watch your channel, and it's not because of you, buddy. He didn't see Graham's punch before it bore right into his face. Feature comment. Graham seems pretty acclimated to physical reality to me. Foot episode, Young Rascal. Hour, 67,137. Views, 94,308. That night, Graham went down the stairs, feeling the cameras turn on from the heat of his outrage. I don't care who's watching me. He was not about to let his sister be exploited. He stood on the chair, summoned all his strength, and yanked the camera from the chain. He grabbed it in his arms and smashed it, watching the tiny box explode into a kaleidoscope of glass, dissolving the memories of the awful years. Smiles shot into the camera, lowered voices darting between mother and father, stony glances all in his direction, captured in that one little thing. He felt a breath of hope for at least a moment. Well, at least until the next camera would show up at his doorstep. Foot episode, Young Rascal Can't Hide. Hour reboot 1. Views 65,432. Graham woke from the couch, and for the first time he could remember, he woke to his mother sitting beside him. He imagined the words she had for him, but nothing came close to what she actually thrust upon his groggy, irritated mind. You finally did something. That night, we got more views than ever. keep your mind spinning. You finally found your role, the young rascal. With your sister as the pretty one and you as the aggressive one, we have all our bases covered. With that same zeal, his mother went to assemble the new Contifoot system. Graham watched in horror as the witness and perpetrator of the terror to come was swiftly hung up on its rack. The camera calibrated, refocused, and narrowed its gaze on its new target. Once we let those eyes in, they never turned away.